Hello, everyone. It's Brenda Douglas, aka Real Estate Diva. And let me tell you that it is an absolutely beautiful day out here, guys. Oh, it is beautiful out. The sky is blue. The sun is shining. It's not too hot, not too cold. People are riding about. There are people planting flowers. There are bees buzzing around. And there are people riding their bikes, sitting outside. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. So listen, in this video, I want to talk about some ways that you can de-stress doing this home buying process, right? Especially now with it being a seller's market, things are tight. Some of you have put in offer after offer after offer, only to be denied. I know that can be frustrating. So listen, I want to share some ways that you can de-stress, right? So that you can rejuvenate, right? And go back out looking, right? And not give up on the process, right? I want you to not give up. So, and again, in this episode, I'm going to share some ways that you can relieve some stress. I'm going to give you some stress remedies, okay? Before I go any further, let me give you the quote of the episode, which comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer, who once said that peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is rather than what you think it should be. All right, so let's get into the ways that you can relieve stress because, like I said, it can be an emotional process. It can be very stressful, right? Looking for a home, searching for a home, things of that nature, or even selling, having to pack up all of your belongings. That is a hard job, right? So it can be a little stressful. So here are some ways that you can take a time out and relieve some stress. All right, get some exercise, right? Whether that means turning on the YouTube and doing some routines, even if it's dance, right? Dance is a form of exercise. Do something that you enjoy. So if you enjoy, let's just take that example. If you love to dance, well, there are some exercises that you can do that incorporates dance. Like, for example, Zumba and jazzercise. So there are some things that you can do, or just dance, right? So dance, find out what your favorite, or whatever your favorite form of exercise. Some people love to go to the gym. Exercise, right? One thing about exercising is that it clears your mind. And all of these things, it clears your mind and you focus on whatever you're doing at the moment. So the mission is to stop thinking about whatever you're stressing about. Force yourself to stop thinking about whatever it is you're stressing about and focus on the activity at hand. So the first activity again is to exercise, right? And I'm going to add dance as another one because you can turn on your favorite song and just dance, even if it's in the shower, even if it's while you're getting ready, cleaning up. Turn on the music and do some dancing, while you're vacuuming or whatever. Dance, guys, dance. Okay, so those are two. Exercise and then dance. You can combine the two, right? And this next one is pretty much listen to your favorite music when you're in the car, when you find your mind wandering to the things that are causing you stress. Then I want you to listen to your favorite music, right? I think it's important to note that there are two types of stress. There's good stress and there's bad stress. We are focused on, focused on the distress. We're focused on the negative stress, not the good stress, right? We're focused on the negative stress and how to relieve yourself from that, right? So that you can be rejuvenated to keep going, right? Get yourself a supportive group or someone positive to talk to, right? Don't talk to those people who you say, oh, I want to buy a house. And they're like, girl, you broke. What are you doing? What are you talking about buying a house, right? Don't talk to those people. Okay. Don't talk to the people who are like, girl, whatever. You are a single parent. How you gonna come up with the money? Girl, that's hard work. Girl, you know you gotta do the maintenance on that thing, on that house. You gotta pay for all of that. No way. You don't want to talk to those people. You want to talk to people who are positive and they will give you a hopeful outlook, right? Hope. You want to hold on to hope. Okay. And this is whether you have the home or not, because when you get the home, when you retain, after you procure the home, then you have to retain it, right? So this is the same thing. You're going to have to do some stress relieving activities so that you're not bogged down with the thoughts of this house and having to do or take care of the responsibilities, right? There are ways around taking care of the responsibilities, and you can do it with no problem, right? Okay, so back on to the stress activities, right? Listen, some of you are not going to like this one. Disconnect technology. And what that means is turn off the phones, get off of social media. Some of you don't, I know I don't like that one, but at the same time, it is a way to relieve stress. And to be honest with you, there are times when I have to say, okay, why am I feeling a little agitated? It's time to shut social media off. Okay. It's time to shut social media off. It's time to turn off technology so that I can make some plans and some strategies as to how I'm going to get where I'm going, right? Turn off the TV, turn off the music, turn off the cell phone, right? And just focus, right? Some of you are Christians. Listen to what God has to say. A friend of mine, we were talking yesterday, and we were saying how, it's so crazy how we get so busy in life and we forget to sometimes stop and take the time to listen to what is God saying, right? What is God saying? He speaks in a small, still voice, but if we're so busy moving and putting things in our mind and our eyes, and we're not taking the time to stop and listen, that's when the problem comes, okay? Because again, he speaks in a small, still voice, but if you are so occupied with other things or distracted, you'll miss the mark, right? So you want to take times and quiet the mind, turn off things so that you can focus, right? Or refocus, right? Which brings me to my next one, which is meditation. You know that there are so many different types of meditations, guys, and you can do it in different ways. So there are meditations where you like guided meditations, right? Then there are meditations, I think, where you turn off, where there are no words, right? Then there's how you say it, affirmation type of meditations. Like there are different types of meditations, and there are different time frames that you can set. So for example, when I first started meditating, I had to, like, it was hard for me to listen, to sit there, just sit there, sit still. It was hard. So then I said, okay, well, this 10-minute one is not going to work for me. So I pushed it back to 5-minute. So if you go on YouTube, you can find all kinds of meditations, right? So I pushed it back to 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, 5 minutes is not working for me. So you have to push it back to a starting point that's comfortable for you, but start to meditate, start to relax, sit down and relax. And the other thing is, if you're listening to the meditation, but you're still moving around, it's not working. It is not working. The purpose is to be still. Okay. Be still. And another thing about that meditation, let me just also say that another form of meditation, which I absolutely love, is called frequency. It's HZ frequency. My son told me about that, and I listened to that one more than anything. It's like a sound wave. I can't even describe it, but what I can do is put a link to one of my favorite HZ frequency meditation music. I listen to this, I kid you not, every night, especially when I'm anxious and I'm having a hard time going to sleep. Like I'm tossing and turning in the bed, but I'm not relaxing. I put on that HC frequency music and it knocks me out. It knocks my dogs out. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description because I absolutely love it, right? Focus on gratitude. Just look around you and start to become grateful for what is happening in your life, for what is going on around you, for your safety, for your health, whatever it is. Focus on gratitude, right? Focus on gratitude. The other thing you can do to relieve some stress is chew some gum. Chew some gum. I know that sounds really whatever, but like when I'm driving on the road, I don't know if that had, but I don't know. I like to sometimes, I'm not a gum person, but sometimes I do like to chew gum. So to relax, it relaxes me sometimes. The other thing is watch a funny movie. Okay. Focus on comedy, anything comedy related, right? You have comedy TV shows. You have video clips. I love to look at TikTok sometimes because it's funny. Some of the clips are funny. Find some video clips, find some, watch some things on TV and focus on comedy. Read some posts. Some memes are really funny, but you're going to focus on comedy. Take the time to laugh. I remember when my son was very young. He was probably about 5 years old, 4 or 5. And we were going for a walk. We would take neighborhood walks. And I remember one day he said, Mom, when you were, and by the way, I was a single mother. Mom, when you were a little girl, did you ever laugh? And that question hit me in my heart like, oh my God, had I been so consumed in everything in life and everything that's going on that my child had never seen me laugh? Like, that's not good. Smile, yes. Hugs, yes. But laugh? And that's when I knew that I needed to make an adjustment. It wasn't optional. I had to make an adjustment, right? So anyway, take the time to laugh, right? Find something funny to watch and laugh. That story still gets to me. Anyway, guys, okay, so spend some time with your pets. If you have pets, like I have 2 small dogs, absolutely love them. Love to cuddle with them, love to play with them. And they look forward to me coming home. Like, pets just love you unconditionally. Not that I'm hard to love, but they just love on you, right? So, and listen, if you don't have a pet, then pet sit for someone. As someone who does have a pet, hey, do you mind if I spend time? Do you mind if I watch your pet while you go out or what have you? Ask someone if you can pet sit for them, because you don't have to necessarily have the dog. Some of you can make money at the, it can generate some income, but at the same time, it'll give you that time out so you can enjoy playing with a pet, right? So, yeah, spend some time with a pet, any type of pet, cats, dogs, it doesn't matter. Spend some time with them, and that will really, really help you to relieve some stress. Now, we are focusing on ways that you can relieve stress in a healthy way, guys, because there are other ways to relieve stress. We don't want to get into it, but there are other ways to relieve stress. We want to focus on the healthy ways to relieve stress, right? So, the other thing you can do is sit outside. I love to sit outside and listen to the sounds around me, right? The birds chirping, the wind. If the wind is blowing, the trees, you can hear the trees. If there's some water near you, like a stream, just to be quiet and just to hear everything that's going on around you, right? Sometimes there are some unpleasant sounds like, what is it? People honking their horns and crazy mess like that. But for the most part, the sound of nature is beyond belief, right? Including the sound of rain. If you have shelter and it's raining outside, it is a perfect day. And it's warm outside, warm rain combination. It is a perfect day to sit underneath the shelter and just enjoy the sound of the rain. Same thing with nature. Like I said, the birds chirping and things of that nature, is you can hear so much out in nature. The crickets, bugs and things of that, some bugs. Anyway, the point is that listen to the sound of nature, right? And enjoy just being outdoors. And also when you're outdoors, you can look at all the action that's going on around you. Now, you may say, well, I don't have a lot of traffic in my area. Well, you may not, but you do have bugs crawling on the ground, right? So you want to focus your attention on something that will relieve the stress. Another thing you can do is read, guys. Read books, read podcasts. They even have Audible podcasts, or I'm sorry, Audible books that you can listen to, right? But read a book, read magazines. I love magazines. Read magazines, read books, read articles. So read some things, right? The other thing is the podcast, since I've already mentioned that podcast. And don't just listen to any type of podcast, right? Just like you shouldn't watch any type of TV shows, right? You need to be protective of what goes into your eye gates and your ear gates and your heart, right? So you need to be protective about that, right? If it's not uplifting you, if it's not making you a better person, if it doesn't contribute to that in any way, shut it down. Don't watch it, right? Make better choices so that you can feel better about yourself and about life, right? So listen to podcasts that are uplifting, podcasts that are funny, podcasts that will help you to solve problems, right? So listen to podcasts. The other thing you can do is take a hot bath, a hot bubble bath. Sometimes we go through life and we just shower. Take the time to, when I say a bath, I mean to actually soak in the bathtub with your candles, with the scents, just with the quiet music. Take a bath, and I mean relax in the bathtub type of thing, right? The other thing you can do is train your brain. Listen, I remember there were times when when I worked in hostile environments, right? And so I had this one manager in particular who would always approach me aggressively, right? She would, and you know, I don't want to do the race card thing, but she would approach me aggressively and she would talk down to me, right? I had to, first of all, ask myself, is it her or is it me? You know, did I do something to trigger this? What changes can I make? And my point is that I had to learn how to mentally escape, right? I had to learn to mentally escape or say, okay, hold up. I need a timeout and step back from the energy, right? Now, you don't have to walk away from the energy, but take a step back. Like she would get up in my face yelling, like face to face, right? And we were not in a black friendly company, right? But anyway, she would get up in my face yelling at me. And one time it took everything in me to not, like when people invade your personal space, it is really hard, right? So, but what I learned is that one day she was up in my face and I just turned my head to the left. I don't know what made me do it, but it's like I smacked the energy away. And then I stepped back, one step back, and she was out of my personal space. Like in that moment, like it was everything. Like it was such a life-changing moment to me. Number one, it taught me that I can control how I respond to this, right? Number two, it taught me that I can reject the negative energy that was coming my way, right? So some of you are working in hostile environments in addition to trying to purchase a home. Take your power back, right? Learn strategies. Someone once taught me or told me that or suggested that I, in that moment, visualize myself on a beach or wherever your happy place is. Well, that wasn't hard. That wasn't easy for me. So I had to find what works for me, just like you have to find what works for you. But just know that you have the power to control your response, right? And to dictate what comes into your life. So sometimes I have to say, okay, hold up. Let me take a time out and let me step back, or I'll get back to you with that. Let me just give me a second, or excuse me, let me go to the bathroom real quick. Like you have to find ways to get your time out, right? So that you can decompress and you can think, right? Think clearly without chiming into the energy, like the energy. Like sometimes people, you know how sometimes you can be calm and a person will walk up to you in their energy, like they like rage or whatever. Then all of a sudden you feel like you want to go there with them. Listen, you have to control that. Okay. And one of the ways I do it is to take a time out or turn away from the energy. You have to find what works for you. And also know that you have the power to control your response. Do a puzzle. Now, there are all different types of puzzles, and there are even puzzle games that you can download on your phone. Speaking of which, instead of being specific about puzzles, let's just say games. Play a game. Play a game. Now, I don't mean be so consumed in the game that you forget about your problems. That's when there's an issue. Same thing with drinking. Those things are not healthy. So neither is consuming or being on the machine for hours and hours and hours at a time, right? A day. But it is nice to play a game, take a break every now and then and play a video game, right? Again, they have jigsaw puzzles. They have puzzles like Find the Difference. I love those type of puzzles, right? But I only do it when I find myself extremely stressed or worried, right? So, play a game. All right, go to a park. I love going to a park. Now, this is kind of tricky because most of the times, I can be by myself. I'm single, so most of the times I'm by myself. However, I do have 2 small dogs that I go to the park with. You can even call, if you're single, call a friend, call a bunch of friends and say, hey, let's meet up at the park, and then light up that grill and have fun. But go to a park. The thing about a park is that people around you are living. There are so many moving parts. You got dogs walking with their families. You got families out there. You got kids running around. You got people throwing frisbees. You got people riding bikes. Like there's so many things that you can focus on and just enjoy the moment or be stimulated by something other than what you're thinking about. Sometimes you can even take a book outside in the park. Take a book to a park. You'll see couples out there. Just go out and enjoy just being in the atmosphere. Take a book, take some music. You can listen to some music out in the park. There's so many things you can journal out there. There's so many different things that you can do while you are enjoying the scenery at a park. Now, if your area does not have a lot of parks, like here in the DMV, if you do not have a lot of parks in your area, then sit outside, go back to sit outside and just enjoy everything that's around you. The other thing you can do when I'm stressed, sometimes I get in my car and I just drive, just drive and look at the scenery, especially if you live near some countryside or some mountains. I think every area has scenery of some sort. Even if you have marinas where there's water that you can go to, just drive around and just enjoy the present, right? Enjoy being out in some fresh air and seeing something seeing something different than what you've been seeing, right? Another thing you can do is fast walk or jog, right? You want to be in motion, moving, go for a walk. And again, be mindful of everything that is around you and just take in the present moment. Again, some people prefer to walk. Some people prefer to jog. And some people prefer to fast walk. Whatever your preference is, just go out and get moving and walk. Go to a mall. That's another good place where people are moving and things are happening. Now, let me just say that some people, you want to be, like, you have to know, yourself, right? You know that if you see something in the store, you're going to have to buy it. Like, you are an emotional buyer and you know it. You're an impulsive buyer and you know it, right? Since you know that about yourself, then that walking to a mall or going to a mall when you're stressed is not a good idea, right? However, there are those of us who can go to a mall, window shop, and then walk out with nothing, right? We can go into a store. I'm very good at this. You can go to the store and then just see what's on sale, what do they have or whatever, and I can walk right out, or even put it in my cart, and then be like, is this something that I really need, or is this something that I want, right? And if it is something that I want and I don't need right this present moment, I don't have a problem walking away from it, right? So window shop or just go in a mall. There used to be times when people would just sit down on the seats in the mall and watch people walk. One of the things I've noticed though is that they're starting to remove the chairs. Like, okay, they're starting to move the chairs from the mall, right? And some people, and that depends. I guess it depends on the size of the mall, because the bigger malls, they will have some type of sitting area still, but for the most part, a lot of them, I noticed that they are removing some of the chairs, whereas before you can go and just sit down and just enjoy people walking by. Yes, sometimes people sit down and make fun of people. That's not the mindset level that you're on anyway, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, the point, and I always assume positive intent, right? Whether they're talking about me or not. When I assume positive intent, like if I walk past somebody and they bust out laughing, my version of assuming positive intent could be something like, oh, somebody must have said a joke in their group, right? Because I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt of thinking that you just talked about me and insulted me, right? So that you must have said a funny joke, and that's fine. It has nothing to do with me. So anyway, sitting at a mall and being able to take in the sights again, I don't know if that's doable in a lot of places. I think the bigger the mall, the more likely there are seats. All right, so sponsor an event or host an event, right? Whether you have an apartment or a home, invite family and friends over and have a nice little dinner, have a card party. One of the things I noticed, like my family would sometimes invite me over to events or parties, and what they didn't know is that I was going through so much that it was like I would get depressed. But when I would go to these events and just mix and mingle and just be in the moment, it's like I would leave there so happy, I would leave there so happy. So I needed that break, but I didn't know I needed that break, right? So if you have, invite people over so that you can, again, take time out and just enjoy, the people, your family and friends, right? All right, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. But go to a community event. Like I'm getting ready to head to a Savor of Bowie event, one of the things I love about the DMV area, also known as District of Columbia, Maryland, and Northern Virginia. One of the things I love about the DMV is that there's always something to do, right? Whether you go to the free museums, whether you go to the community events, whether you go to festivals that they have, there is always, whether the local church is having, like, there's always something to do here, right? And so whether you go to people's having yard sales, I'm going to hit some yard sales today. So I'm going to go to the festival, hit some yard sales. Like there's always something to do here in the DMV. Now, one of the things I learned, though, is that not every area has the same things, right? Like when I was at Raleigh, it's like Raleigh, North Carolina, I lived there for a while. And it's like, what are people doing? Like they don't have as many community events as we do here in the DMV. But if you live in one of those areas where they have local events, where they have community events, where they have where the churches sponsor events, listen, take part in it. Go out and enjoy your community, right? It is a great way to relieve some stress. All right, take up a new hobby. Just try something creative and something new, right? Go to we have hobby stores here in the DMV. We have Hobby Lobby. We have Michael's. We have Joann's. Like we have different types of, even Walmart here sells arts and craft activities, right? Or supplies. So do something creative, right? Do something new and exciting, right? So you can be proud of yourself. Listen, there are people, like we have stores here called Dollar Tree, and there are people who, they have videos about it even, who go to the Dollar Tree and buy some arts and crafts stuff and can make some wonderful things, right? So do something creative. Listen, also get some sleep. Get some sleep. Some of you are so grouchy, and it's because you need more sleep. Like, it's not our fault. Get some sleep. Get some rest, right? Even if you lay down or sit down, sometimes I have to just get off my feet, lift my feet up on the bed, just sit on the bed and just look at the TV or what have you, just get off your feet. Or sometimes I doze off, you know. Either way, at night, get some sleep. Why do you have to stay up all night long? Get some rest. Get some rest so you can be happy. And last but not least, protect your mental state of mind by doing things that will, again, guard your mind. So again, meditate, being careful about, who you bring into your space. And last but not least, build yourself up spiritually. I said this quite a bit ago, something spiritual, but anyway, you want to attend a church service. You want to listen to gospel music, not music that elevate men, and elevate actually being in a relationship that idolizes people. You want something that will idolize something greater than yourself, right? Or greater than a human being. Okay, so grow spiritually, read your Bible, and listen, I hope that this has been helpful to you. Listen, it can be stressful when you're buying a home, right? Again, you don't know which way the thing is going to go. You put in so many different offers that can be frustrating. If you are a buyer, you have to make sure not to spend any money or use any credit, because it'll throw off your income to debt ratio. So you have to be very, very careful with the money that you have saved up so you don't spend it, right? So you have to do nothing or buy no major purchases. Don't buy any major purchases with credit or otherwise when you are in the process of buying a home. And yet at the same time, in this seller's market, you keep putting offer in after offer and it's rejected, or they pass you up for more money, or other people. Listen, you have to be patient with yourself, be patient with the process, right? If you are a seller, again, you have to pack your boxes and get ready to go. You have to leave what's familiar, or just the mind or the thought of having to leave behind what you're familiar with can be stressful alone. The other thing is that once you sell your home in the seller's market, you become the buyer, and then now you're in the game of finding homes where the inventory is very, very low. So now you have to think about, okay, I don't want to pay 2 mortgages. Okay, I got to sell this house. Okay, I've already sold this house. Now where am I going to go? So that's why, let me just say that it is important to do a contingency. You have to find another home before you sell your own home. I don't suggest you sell your home and then be homeless. Nobody wants to do that, right? So again, you want to protect yourself. Now, as a buyer with those contingencies in the seller's market, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that at all. You want to be very, very careful and mindful of the fact that the inventory is low. However, if you are a seller, you can put a contingency to sell your home. To buy a new home before you sell your home, so you don't risk being homeless. That's why it is very, very important for the buyer and the seller for you to ask yourself, is now the time, right? And then be honest about the situation and move or stay put. Okay, you make the decision. Listen, guys, I hope that this has been helpful to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. Also, leave some comments if you've had any experiences that you would like to share with us. We would love to hear from you. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And listen. De-stressing is very, very important, whether you are in the process of purchasing a home or not. So again, I hope these tips have been helpful to you. And listen, whether you are in the market to buy or sell a home, remember to keep your head lifted, your hopes high, and remember that it is not over until the keys are exchanged. Have a wonderful day, guys.